Never seen a lame man walk, never heard a dumb man talk, never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Never seen a canceled debt, never seen all the poor get fed, never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name. Made whole. Never seen an orphan find a home. Never seen the weak find the strength. I promise you I'll change his name. Never seen the sick get healed.
No.
Hey everybody! How's it going? It's the Big C Bigger T podcast. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, everybody?
Hey there.
Are you ready for another one? Are you ready for 56? 56, this is Lawrence Taylor, baby. Lawrence Taylor gripping and ripping through the line, going after Joe Theismann's leg. Oh, that was gross.
Oh, that's bad.
Here's a man that knows what pain is like because he's been ran over by a tractor before.
I did get run over by a tractor.
Big C, Clint Clark,
Yeah.
my best friend. How you doing, buddy?
You know, people often ask me what's the worst injury that I've ever had, and I never mentioned breaking my pelvis because I was so young when it happened. I was what, 5?
Yeah.
And so I jumped off a tractor. My grandfather ran over me up to here and had to back down me, and hey, I went up in the emergency room. Was in a wheelchair for a bit. So yeah, but I always tell them, I was 5.
And didn't you want to, like, you were thirsty, just want to get something to drink? So you just
I wanted to jump off. Saw my grandfather out there. My great grandfather is going to jump off. Yeah, it wasn't. Why do young kids do young kid things? I don't know. I don't know what I was.
They get their pelvis ran over.
Yeah, they break their pelvis. But I always tell people, I never think about that. I tore the pinky ligament in this finger right here, my left finger. It is seriously the most painful thing that I've ever been through. I don't want to test fate on that, but it was pretty. It did not tickle. It did not tickle at all, and
didn't tickle a bit, huh?
No, I don't like it. So it was.
Well, I can remember sometimes when we were in junior high or so, that on rainy nights sometimes your hip would start hurting.
Yeah, it would right there where it broke. Yeah, of course that's got it now. Now I've gotten older. It's like all my joints. It's like my knees and my shoulders.
And that was when we were going through puberty too. So it's probably during your growth spurts. And so mixing those two together, a former broken pelvis.
Yeah.
And I still think that's why you're a big Elvis fan. Hey, you broken pelvis. That was a dumb joke.
It was. We've told some good jokes on this show, and
we told some really bad ones too.
Hey, so we just had April Fool's Day a couple of days. Did any good pranks on your end?
Well, we had a good one at the school. One of the teachers told her kids that they were having a flood drill, and she had this deal to read off to them, and they were supposed to. She had some umbrellas, and they were supposed to stand on a desk or chair, but this is at a computer lab. So she just had them prop their feet up on the desk. And then some of them were wearing ponchos and stuff. And so she started sending that around in a group text. So I was like, well, we'll show them, like an elementary class had all their kids standing on their desk or whatever, saying, we're doing flood drill too. And so I showed my kids, and I had a couple of them laying on the ground like they're swimming. I'm like, my kids are too dumb to get out of the water.
Just let them explore the space.
That's right. Explore the space.
I didn't have any good April Fool's Day jokes. You see all the memes, like, they try to get you on like the internets and like, Eric Musselman's accepted this job, and this person accepted that job. Nick Saban's retiring. All the stupid stuff that you just like, man, come on.
Did you see what Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon did?
I didn't see it, but I heard like they swapped shows.
Yeah, they swapped shows. I didn't even know they did it until I was just playing around on YouTube and saw some highlights. I saw
good.
Jimmy Fallon, but it had Jimmy Kimmel's logo at the bottom. I was like, what's this? And so I clicked on it, saw that they had done that. So I got in a deep dive on some of their, it was pretty funny, man. It was pretty good. They were, it was pretty good, but yeah, no good. Besides the flood deal, that was it. No good.
No, I want to do prank episode, like good pranks that we've pulled and stuff for a while. And
yeah,
every time you shoot me down like Clint, we can't fill an entire episode with that. And I'm like, dadgummit, you're right, Travis. You're right.
Well, all mine had to do it mostly at church camps. And what was funny, Clint, was when I was a teenager, I was the first one doing all the pranks, right? Like I was the one, my youth pastor would try to get me not to do anything. And I was the first one with the shaving cream and whatever else. Okay. Now, and then at night, I was the last one to go to sleep. I was keeping everybody else up, all that kind of thing. Now, when I became a youth pastor, like that, those roles reversed. And I became Mr. Like, we went to bed at lights out. My kids were trained, man. And I'm like Bob, my old youth pastor, we'd go to camp together and he would just sit there and laugh because I'd be kind of doing military man, getting on to the kids like, you need to be able to pay attention tomorrow and, we're going to pray and then we're going to go to sleep. No one's going to get up, and Bob would be over there laughing because he's like, that never would have worked on you, but somehow it's working on these kids.
And it sucks because we're at that age where you look around for the adults in the room and you're like, dadgummit, it's me.
That's right, yeah. I got to act right now.
Like, oh, man.
Oh, man.
I was gonna say one prank that I pulled, and this was an April Fool's Day prank. The stalker of this show, Gabe Saracel, who likes to do the first like comment.
I like Gabe.
Oh yeah, Gabe's great. I love.
We had a fan club. He's in the fan club.
Right, exactly. He's patched in as president, like
That's right.
Big C, Bigger T original.
That's right.
I don't know. I mean, if there was a Big C, Bigger T biker gang, that's the way we'd do it.
That's right. That's right.
I don't know how to ride a motorcycle, and I haven't rode a bicycle, and it's not stationary.
Yeah.
It's not going to be much of a biker gang. Well, no, me and Nelly, who was my roommate, we stole his lava lamp, and we were pulling pranks back and forth on each other. Me and Gabe were always was. And so I just remember we went back to the back part of the Wesley Foundation where it was it would look like a warehouse. So it was like we just put towels over her head. You could totally tell it was us. And like we cut out letters and we took pictures of us like holding hammers and saws next to his lava lamp. Instead of when those letters say, if you ever want to see your lava lamp again, leave $5 under our dorm room door. Or something just silly like that.
That's
and I remember Jack tried to act bad. He goes, he was like Bert Kreischer when he saw Tom Segura's comeback skit. He's like, seriously, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's just.
That's good, man.
Because we were driving back. We were driving back from Dallas this morning because I've been out of town, but it's between trips. My wife did have time to put the feminist propaganda back up, so that's nice.
Oh, good, yeah.
I mean, I've been getting a lot of texts like, Clint, please, 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 please,
more feminist propaganda.
Bring that back, the feminist propaganda. Ask no more.
That's right.
And so Post Malone Wow came on, and my wife was like, I can't hear this song without thinking about Bert Kreischer dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the Tom Segura comeback when where he's dancing.
Yeah.
You can tell by Bert's reaction. He's like, he had no idea. He's like, seriously, it's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing ever. Google Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura dance off, I guess would be the best way to search for it if you kids
beware.
Beware. It's not suitable for work, it's not PG. So thank you, Travis, for bringing us back out of the gutter.
That's right. Yeah.
Doing your job, getting us out of the mess that I get us into.
Well, Clint, we got a Holy Snikes moment.
Woo.
And speaking of messes, have people lost their daggum mind, Clint?
They have.
Have they lost their minds?
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was busy, so I didn't watch the clip. But when you sent it to me, I was like, my first thought wasn't like, I can't believe this has happened.
All right, here's what happened, folks. And here's the deal. I searched for it. I heard them talking about it on the radio. I searched for it, and I pull up pages worth of similar type videos that have happened over the years that I never watched. But here's what happened. It's an AAU basketball game in Georgia. And someone the player didn't like the call. And so they just jumped the referee. And when I say jump the referee, I'm talking people are just watching a bunch of kids and one coach literally jump and pound on a referee. The other ref is just standing there, not stopping it, not doing anything. And this ref is throwing blows at some of these kids. I don't know how old these kids were, but some of them didn't look all that big. I mean, they were teenagers, but they wasn't full grown men. This wasn't guys that are about to play college ball. Okay. This Clint, I was disgusted.
As well, you should be. You should be disgusted. I mean, it's AU basketball. Them refs are probably getting $20 a game or so. They're not out there trying to cheat anybody. At the end of the day, they're human. They're gonna make mistakes.
And it's just a basketball game.
It is just a game. And it is probably, from the way you describe things, it's probably like a 15 and under team, maybe an 8th, 9th grade team, something like that. Really is not work. And just some of the behavior we've seen of fans at Arkansas games this year. You see the guy Mooney, the Kentucky player. Yeah. And I'm not caring. I mean, there's obviously a difference between mooning another player and beating an official. Yeah. Fans can't act right. And I remember buddy league baseball, whenever we'd go to games and parents would throw their fits, and like the other coach would get like, oh, he forfeit. Like, it's freaking youth sports, y'all.
Yeah.
It is youth sports. It's not about the adults. It's about the kids. Act right. And jumping a ref. Guys, don't put your hand on official. These guys, no one, it's like maybe one in every 5,000 is actually trying to mess over somebody.
And here, let me give you some advice, folks. And look, this is from a guy who's not a parent. I don't have kids. So you can take it as you want. Now, I've helped hundreds of people raise their kids.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been a youth pastor for a long time, and I saw my role not as taking the place of any parent, but trying to strengthen what they do with their kids, because God has put you in that role. But let me give you some advice. If when your kid gets through with a game, you're blaming the ref for them losing, then you are training a loser. You agree with me, Clint?
Yeah.
If you're putting it on, instead of saying, look, I'm not saying to act like it's the end of the world, but if you're saying that a referee caused because of one or two bad calls, which that's usually what it is, and it may be multiple bad calls, who cares? It's not about, especially when they're kids, they're trying to learn a sport. Let them learn the sport.
I mean, could you imagine at the end of the Arkansas-Auburn game, if like Sam Pittman went out there and delivered Sweet Chin music?
Oh.
I mean, just super kick. I mean, just, well, there you're like, Pittman's tuning up the band.
That's right. Yeah.
Super kicks their.
So all of a sudden, Stone Cold's music comes on.
And then Barry Odom comes out, is beating with a steel chair.
Barry Odom rips his shirt off.
And then what's this? Kendall Browse got the Clippers. They start shaving the ref's head.
Kendall Browse is over there doing the Shawn Michaels. I'm a sexy boy. But
But God,
no, but seriously, Clint. I mean, I hear that so way too often. Look, if you're blaming the refs, you're teaching them to be losers. Okay. I mean, look, there's proper ways. If a ref is doing bad, there's proper ways to handle that. They're not going to be the best. Sometimes they need to be replaced. Sometimes they don't need to be reffing, especially in lower level. They're trying to do it to make a little extra buck. And you know what? They're just not good at it. And that's okay. Okay. There's been times you hadn't been good at jobs you've tried to do either. Okay. But man, and Clint, the people filming it were laughing.
yeah.
We're laughing. This dude's on the ground. Kids are kicking him. Okay. They're laughing. Listen, my nanny just died a few weeks ago. But when she was older, she could have taken care of people like that. She would have told them what for sure. But anyway, it was holy snikes because Clint, people were acting crazy. And we got to stop acting crazy, people. Love each other. Be kind. Seriously. Just be kind. Try it. Just try it.
I think you may
When
like
you get mad at a ref, or how about this? When a ref makes a good call, say, hey, man, that was a good call. It was against my team, but that was still a good call. It was the right call. Try that. Try some positivity.
Because at the end of the day, what 99.9% of these refs wants is to get the call right.
Yeah. They want to get it right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just not trained well on how to do that. And that's okay. Anyway, sorry. All right. I got a little preachy there. Got a little preachy, Clint. Got a little fired up. Got caught the Holy Ghost.
Hey, buddy.
I'm on my way to heaven this morning.
So look out now. Baseball's up to number 2 in the country.
Baseball is rolling. Had a big series against the current champ.
Defending national champs.
This past weekend. Did lose the last game against them, right?
Right.
But our pitching's coming around.
No, the pitch is looking good. And it seems like we've had our rotation settled much quicker this year than we did last year. It seems like last year it was just like, hey, let's try to get through the first 2 or 3 innings. And if it gets bad, we'll call the cops. And they're doing it. Connor Nolan's on the player of the year watch list. He got on there very quickly, and he's turned into a legit Friday starter, which is great because last year everybody was like, they were like, oh, what about Connor Nolan? What about Connor Nolan? It seemed like he's fighting injuries, and when he came in, he'd get rocked. And so it's good to have him back and for him to live up to the potential that you've seen because, a lot of people thought he was going to be the future of football, and he made the decision like baseball was his path. So when a kid makes a gamble on himself like that, which is what Connor Nolan did, you want to see it work out, especially being an Arkansas boy. Yeah,
for sure. And he's stepping up, and like you said, he's up for some awards already, man. That's awesome. I'll tell you another one is the hot name right now on the team is Brady Tiger. I think I'm saying that last name right. Yeah. He's coming in as the closer. He's got a 1.20 ERA right now, and he's got 4 saves so far. Cole Ramage has 3 saves for us, but his ERA is not quite as good. He's pitched 15 innings. Cole's pitched 22. So they kind of figured Cole was going to be, I think, the closer beginning, but this Brady's come in and really kind of solidified that role and become the guy. Our boy, first of all, Jalen Battles is having a great year so far.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the batting average on the team. You know, you see Caden Wallace, Robert Moore, both having just a killer batting average this year. I mean, they're just, it's like they're winning more as a team than was last year. It seemed like it's more about just getting to Kevin Cops.
Yeah.
It just seems like a more complete team this year.
I think Caden's liking the leadoff role.
Yeah.
They got him at leadoff now, and he's liking that. He's getting some extra base hits. He's getting on base and doing some good things. You know, my Shawbridge slugger hasn't stuck. Maybe we should go with the Wooster Wonder.
Maybe.
Wooster Wonder, maybe. That'd be even better.
Oh, no, you guys like down in Durham to give the young man a nickname.
He needs a nickname, man. He
Does
one.
need a nickname.
So the Wooster Wonder, let's call him that.
Wooster Wonder.
Wooster Wonder.
Yeah.
But Webb's had some big hits. His average isn't that that high, but I mean he's had some big hits. He's leading the team with 6 home runs. Battles has got 5 home runs. Wallace has, I'm sorry. I was saying that wrong. Yeah, Battles has 5. Wallace has 4.
Yeah, Battles has hit some big ones in some big spots. He seems to keep coming through in big spots. He can't. It was funny. He switched his number from 4 to 2, which I think he had to take 2 from Dave Van Horn.
That's right. That was a big thing.
Like you come back, how you could have.
Yeah, that was a big switch there. But yeah, man, they're looking good. They're playing hard. They're still leaving batters. They're still leaving base runners on, Clint.
They are. They got it. They're having a rough time. They were doing that tonight too. They were having.
That's something they continue to struggle with. I don't know why. I don't know why we've struggled with that so much. Maybe other teams do just as much. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't pay as much attention to other college teams. And about Tennessee, though, in the game against Vanderbilt, they had one of their bats confiscated.
Oh, I did see that.
A guy hit a home run. Now I was looking it up, and it turned out to not to be a big thing, but they sort of got labeled, like you were saying, they're sort of the bad boys of baseball.
No.
But it got labeled as cheating automatically. But come to find out, it wasn't cheating. What had happened was they test all the bats before the games, and you put the other team's sticker on it, on each of your bats. So if you're Tennessee, you should, when you go up there, you should have a Vanderbilt sticker on your bat to show that it's been tested for that game.
Right.
Well, this guy goes up to bat, and he had a sticker from their midweek game, but the other sticker had fallen off. And so since it didn't, they disallowed the home run that he hit. And then come to find out, they tested it afterwards. His bat tested fine. Matter of fact, since they tested the bats, they tested Vanderbilt's bats, and one of theirs came back as illegal. But you haven't heard about that.
Right.
You hear about Tennessee because they're the bad boys, I guess, right now. But they aren't they number 1 right now?
Yeah, they are number 1. Like I said, it's a shame that Arkansas and Tennessee don't play.
Yeah.
They're the defending number 1 team. They're in the same conference. You figure they'll run each other at some point during the postseason.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool that, you know, the number 1 team's coached by Dave Van Horn disciple. And so that tree.
Well, Clint, how did your bracket end up?
I won my bracket, and I have no idea why, because it was bad.
Wow.
Man, I got 2 teams in the Final Four. I had Villanova and Kansas.
That's why you won then.
Yeah, but that was.
I don't think there was a lot of people had 2.
No, and that's blind luck. I didn't know much about that. Like I know Kansas won the national championship yesterday, and I didn't watch the game. I was at the Raw after WrestleMania in Dallas.
Man, it turned out to be a good game. I didn't watch it all at first. I watched the end of the first half, and North Carolina was winning, which I was happy. I told someone earlier in the day that I was afraid that Kansas was going to run away with it just because I thought they may have had more talent up and down the board. But North Carolina was playing good in that first half. And then that second half, man, here comes Kansas. Here comes Bill Self paying those players and cheating as he goes. But, hey, he wins it. And
largest deficit overcome in the national championship game, down by 16. 16, I think down 15 at the half.
Yeah.
They said Bill Self said he told him in the locker room, he goes, look, last year we were down 9 with 2 minutes left. We're down 15 with 20 minutes left. Which one would y'all rather have? They're like 15 with 20 left. All right, all you gotta do is just, because even at 15, you do your job.
Yeah.
And as it gets tighter, that other team that had the big lead starts feeling it just a wee bit more. And before you know it, all the pressure's on the team that was up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he coached a heck of a game. His players played a heck of a game. It was something to behold, man. And now they're the national champions. But have you seen the rankings for a lot of the way too early?
Yeah, and it is way too early because you don't know what's going to happen yet. But Arkansas, number 1 in a lot
ESPN, 24/7 Sports, and someone else, I think.
Pretty much everyone I've seen has had Arkansas number 1, which I do think is way too early because our top scorer, JD Notae, who, man, I never was a big fan of. I thought he hurt you a lot more than he helped you. Musselman loved him, and he was obviously our leading scorer, and the guys obviously gravitated to him. But I never was a huge fan. I thought JD. I think I could go out there and make 8 of 30.
No, but you couldn't. But anyway,
I couldn't get open to shoot 30 times. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah,
but I think he settled for long range jumpers way too much. The step back and stuff like that. Like you said,
you're right.
The Steph Curry effect. But now when he drove. But now JD Notae's gone. He's hired an agent. He's not coming back. How do you feel about that decision?
I think it's the best decision for him. Look, there's more ways than one. We talked to my buddy Dion Holloman a while back, and in football, there's very few avenues to make money. That's not so in basketball. Yeah. Basketball is a worldwide sport. You can go to Israel and make good money playing basketball. Okay, you can go to the Philippines and make good money playing basketball. You can go anywhere. Basketball is huge in other countries. It's second only to soccer, probably. Yeah. And these other countries they love getting Americans in there to mix with their locals and trying to, do some things. So he's going to have a way to make money. Is he an NBA guy? He's going to have to shoot a better percentage than what he does.
Yeah. I did see that he was I saw latest mock draft, so I had him as a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
And so I think he's one of the guys, he's going to get you on with somebody, probably D League or G League, I think is what it's called now. So he'll wind up on a G League team, somebody's farm club, maybe, one of them guys they bring up, similar to what Mason Jones is doing.
Yeah.
Like that. Another one that signing with an agent is DC, Audis Tony, which I hate. I get it.
And he signed with an agent.
Yeah. A lot of the guys coming in are the same type of player that you are. You're Barry Dunnan, your Pinion, Walsh, all kind of that interchangeable 6'6", 6'7". Anthony Black's also 6'7". So
Yeah.
And like we were talking about for the podcast, you'd like to see him come in and kind of show these guys, okay, here's how you play elite defense.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that the thing they're going to miss with Tony, where he could have helped this team next year, is he could have been the guy that showed them this is how you do defense at Arkansas.
yeah,
This is how you play it on the perimeter. And this is how you cut to the basket. That's one thing we forget. Tony was our best cutter. He could cut to the basket better than anybody else we had. And he was open a lot of times when we couldn't get anybody else open.
and
So that's where we're going to miss him for sure.
yeah. Now the other one that is throwing his name in the draft, no, he hasn't signed with an agent. He is, and you know what? And I don't blame the kid at all. Is Jalen Williams has entered his name in the NBA draft, but is not signed with an agent. You can't blame Jalen for doing everything that he's doing.
No.
You don't know what kind of feedback he's going to get. And he played well enough in the NCAA tournament, and enough eyeballs were on him that everybody's like, this 6'10" guy from Arkansas is really good. I think a lot of the feedback's going to come back that, hey, you need to work on your outside game a little bit. And probably staying out of foul trouble, because he got in foul trouble way too much.
Yeah.
But when you're the only big guy, it tends to happen to you.
Yeah.
I mean, our second big guy was Kamani Johnson, and there was a big drop off between Williams and Johnson.
Yeah.
But now they're working the portal. They got that big guy. They're looking at a couple other big guys. I know they got that 7-footer they were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly enough, Connor Vanover has not been one of the guys that's transferred. I think
and that's going to be, that's what everybody's kind of waiting on. I think everybody's expecting him to be one of them, but you never know. He's been there for 3 years. Connor has NIL deals.
Yeah.
At Arkansas. He's still, just because of who he is, just because he's 7'3", he gets NIL deals. So
I was listening to Steve Sullivan on the Buzz the other day. They had him on a guest spot. And they're talking about all these players that Arkansas signed, and they're saying that tells you that Arkansas's NIL game is competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because that's what's telling you. You're getting these players because your NIL deals that you're turning out are competitive.
Yeah.
So now that's something else that, if you're Jalen Williams, you got to look at. Now, would I rather, if he gets the feedback like, hey, you're going to be a borderline into the second round pick or not drafted at all, you may make more money doing NIL than you would doing that. You're saying that there's more ways to make money playing basketball professionally. Well, there's more ways to make money playing basketball in college now.
You're right.
The NIL has changed the game completely and totally changed the game.
Yeah.
And I think in ways it's changed it for the worse. In ways it's changed it for the better. Your kids may stick around. The one thing I do hate about the transfer portal, though, is me and you've talked about this, is while we reap the benefits here at Arkansas right now, is I think we talked about on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, was, man, you're not going to see, I don't think you'll ever see a Butler get close again, because you're seeing it this year. All the kids that go to mid-majors who excel transfer.
Yeah.
They're
right.
I mean, you're seeing it already. Like, it's like, dude, and this could have been our Holy Shnikes moment of the week. Did you see LSU has 0 players?
Yeah.
0
Yeah.
off last year's roster.
Yeah.
Like, if they had like the me and you sitting on the end of the bench, the little trainers at the end that everybody just screams at them to shoot.
Gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. I mean, the guys like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air walking into the office, like, where's everybody at?
That's right.
Everybody. I mean, now Justice Hill's following him. But everybody, and a couple others. So he's going to have to build a completely new team.
Well, and there may be some, there's still the threat out there in the atmosphere of sanctions, Clint. So a player, a high school player coming in, you don't know what's going to be going on in 2 years there.
Now,
you don't know if you're going to have sanctions, to keep you from going to the tournament.
Let me ask you a question. What's the point of punishing them now?
There's no point.
because it's not the same AD.
Nope.
It's not the same head coach. And it's not the same kids.
And that's where the NCAA is a horrible, horrible organization. Because look at Calipari. He caused problems at UMass. He leaves. UMass gets punished for it. UMass has never been the same. He goes to Memphis after he stayed in the NBA. Goes to Memphis. Cheats there. Leaves to go to Kentucky. Memphis gets hit with fines. Does anything happen to Calipari? No. Welcome to Kentucky, where you get the best players every year. You know.
But Jeff Long went hard after him for the Arkansas job.
Oh yeah.
When he hired Anderson? When he hired Anderson.
Yeah.
He went hard. Well, yeah, he went hard after him, and he ended up settling for Mike Anderson. No, Anderson stabilized the program, but man, I tell you what, you got to think about it. Jeff Long is nothing else. He's a poor judge of character. The man's hired Bobby Petrino, Les Miles, and tried to hire Calipari.
Yeah.
Good
thing he's gone. Well, another one, Clint, that this is an Arkansas boy that's entered the portal that there's room that Arkansas has offered.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Tyree Appleby from Florida. He's an Arkansas boy that could come home. But the only thing is, Clint, he's another guard.
Yeah, what's to help you? We have plenty of depth at guard. You got to think about it. I mean, you got Nick Smith, you got Darian Ford, both them guys coming in, and Anthony Black. And so you got them three, and then you got Devo Davis too.
Well, there's rumors that Devo could be looking elsewhere too.
Well, Devo, I don't know if Devo can go somewhere else and make the money he's making at Arkansas. And that's not, I mean, the guy's got a lot of NIL money.
Yeah.
Unless Devo just sees the writing on the wall, like, well, next year I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way, because Devo's not starting. He's coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And all that. And he's still, he's still doing great.
He got a lot of minutes though.
Yeah. So
Just I don't they did the year before.
I mean, there are rumors maybe out there, but I don't believe it. I really just don't. I mean, I think he's gonna get plenty of minutes. But yeah.
Now there's also rumors that I believe I heard this on Drive Time today that was thrown out there a little bit, that there might be some coaching changes.
Well, that happens.
It's gonna happen when you have an intense guy like Muss. You're gonna have some coaching changes.
He seems like he's hard on assistant coaches.
Oh yeah,
and
he expects a lot out of them.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very, very trying, because he works hard.
Yeah.
Now there was an article out on Musselman. I'm not sure if you saw this, where they talked about Danielle won't let him go to Walmart with her. Like, he said, I want to go help do shopping, and she won't let me.
Really?
Yeah, because he's like, if we go, it takes 3 times as long, because everybody's going to stop and take a picture with him, all that. Yeah. He said, he's all he does is go to work and go home. They live in a gated subdivision, gated community, and so that's like their little sanctuary.
Well, now Clint Musselman gets to go and do lots of things. He's a world traveler, but you did a little traveling over the weekend.
I did do a little travel.
You took your son Austin, down to Jerry's World.
Man, you don't know how massive that place is till you're in it.
To attend with thousands there in attendance, and with millions watching around the world. Were you ready?
I was ready.
Did you get ready to rumble, Clint?
I did get ready. I ate at this quaint little restaurant I'd never tried before, called Buffalo Wild Wings, before the event.
You go all the way to Dallas and you go to a chain restaurant?
Let me tell you something.
That we have here.
After I got food poisoning in Las Vegas, I'm sticking to chains.
Oh man, you got to go to what's that place that's there? Papados.
Yeah. No,
Dude, Papados Cajun. Oh my gosh.
Well, it was right by AT&T Stadium, and I had a gift card. So, but anyway, it was pretty cool because there was a guy come in dressed up fully as Gold Dust, had the bodysuit on, zipped up, face painted, blonde wig, dressed completely as Gold Dust. And man, it is the production that is WrestleMania. You don't realize how big the set is until you're in there. Like Vince McMahon spares no expense. Like it was unbelievable.
Have I told you my Gold Dust story?
Yeah, I do know this story, but tell for everybody else because they don't know it.
Well, it was a live show in Little Rock at Alltel back before it was Simmons. And actually before it was Verizon. And
it was Alltel, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Alltel. And so we got there early. I think me and Brett Moore, my old roommate from college, Brett, were at this show. And we got there early. So we, like you and I would do, we would always walk around and try to figure out where the wrestlers were to see if we could meet some of them. So we went to the back where all of them were pulling in. And we were standing there kind of against the fence, and seeing some of them get out of their cars or whatever. And I'm kind of off to the side a little bit because, I'm like, I don't want to just look at them. I mean, I'd like to shake their hand or, say hi to them or whatever, but that's not happening. And all of a sudden, someone starts walking toward me. And I was like, that's Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
And I was off away from the crowd a little bit, right? Because I was kind of off to the side. And he come from between these two trucks he was at an RV. And he walks right up to me. He says, hey, man, go down there to the Exxon and get me some Copenhagen. I said, yeah. So he gave me like $40. Okay. This is back in the day. Okay. Copenhagen wasn't that expensive.
Right. Yeah.
And so he said, get me 4 cans. So I go down to there and I get 4 cans of Copenhagen. I walk back. I had like 20 something bucks left. Okay. So I go and I hand him the Copenhagen. I go to hand him change. And he goes, oh man, keep it. And then he grabs my hand and gives me like 60 more bucks. Dude, I'm in a positive, man. I'm in a positive like 80 bucks on this trip.
Well, I can tell you after this trip, I'm not in the positive.
But back then that paid for my ticket. That paid for my drinks. That paid for a hot dog at the concession stand,
Maybe you got your t-shirt. I mean, it
hooked me up, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I was like, man, I just bought Gold Dust Copenhagen.
Yeah.
It'd been cooler if it'd buy his dad that. That'd been cool. Anyway, sorry, you said Gold Dust. But Clint, it's different now, okay? Because I don't watch wrestling on a regular basis anymore, so I don't pay attention to it. But I guess some of the folks in my church do. We were doing a work day Saturday, and my youth pastor was watching it on his phone. And I'm like, oh, is this from last night? Because I guess they had the Hall of Fame the night before or whatever. Yeah. And he said, no, this is a pay-per-view right now. This noon on Saturday.
Yeah, they do an entire week. Like I stayed in a hotel downtown Dallas, and I look up and there's I'm gonna butcher his first name, but it's Masahiro Suzuki.
Yeah,
famous Japanese wrestler who was there doing some independent show. Like he's sitting there, and I didn't go. I don't think he speaks much English, so I didn't try to go up and get his.
Dude, he probably talks like a Southern boy. Probably, hey man, how you doing?
I don't know.
Let's go get us some ribs.
He might do it, but he's in there having his breakfast. So I didn't want to bug him. Plus, I wasn't I didn't want to walk up and butcher his name and like really offend him. But man, there's independent shows around there. WWE's got a show on Friday. They got SmackDown. They do a Saturday early show, which was the NXT show that your guy was watching. Then they do it over 2 nights on WrestleMania now. And so, and then the Monday Night Raw.
That's crazy. And you got to pay for each of those tickets, right?
Yeah. But I think, by the time they get to Monday, they're just wrestling out. Now, I didn't get to watch Saturday night because I had to work. But by far the best match I thought was Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. They just tore the house down.
I have no idea who those two people are.
Yeah, they're both female wrestlers. They do a lot more with women wrestling now.
Yeah.
Now, not two. Pat McAfee. Yes, that Pat McAfee wrestled Austin Theory in what my opinion was the match of the night. Now, Sami Zayn also wrestled Johnny Knoxville, which was a very entertaining match.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was like watching a live Looney Tune cartoon. It really was. But at the end, Pat McAfee ends up winning his match, and then he does an impromptu match with Vince McMahon. It was a smoke and mirrors match that cost the match. But once Vince McMahon won the match, they were kind of beating up on Theory. Then Stone Cold's music hit.
Yeah.
And he just proceeded to stun everybody. Vince McMahon took one of the worst stunners that you've ever seen. Like just bad. But then Stone Cold did a Stone Cold thing, but the crowd just lost their mind.
I bet. Especially in Texas.
Now I'll wrap this up by telling a story because we kind of brought you down with the Holy Shnikes moment of the week about the bad in people.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about the good in people because I bought tickets to WrestleMania Access, which is like a giant superstore with all these activities. And they have these cardboard cutouts of all the guys. And so I was telling my son, I said, you go over there with this guy. And I got these pictures on my Facebook page. So you go over there and stand next to Paul Heyman's cutout. I'll take your picture. I look over there, and Austin's got like a full-size replica WWE title on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And some guy, there's a volunteer guy there. He's like, man, take his picture with it, And so I was taking his picture, and Austin's like, I don't quite know what to do. He's all excited. Yeah. And I was like, and then the guy's like, hey man, give me your phone. He takes Austin over to the area where you can create a superstar entrance. And just starts taking pictures of him with the belt in the entranceway on my phone. Didn't charge him for him, didn't ask for anything, just did it out of the kindness of his heart.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was.
I'm sure Austin was fired up.
Oh, dude, it was a great experience, but
yeah, that's cool. Man.
I had a good time, man. It's come so far, from just Vince McMahon having to mortgage his house to what it is now. But
yeah,
that's
the cool thing about wrestling. Why, like I said, I don't really watch it much anymore, but I still respect it because it just brings you back to that childhood, man. It brings me back to Mid-South wrestling at my neighbor's house.
Oh yeah.
Me wanting to they had 2 sons that were older than me, and they would practice all the moves on me. I was getting body slammed onto the couch, and all that kind of stuff. And I just loved every bit of it, man. Loved it. And, so that's what's so cool about it. And seeing kids get that fired up about it. I know you're enjoying watching your son.
Yeah. And everybody, give me a hard time. Like, oh, you're doing this for you. Like, no, I'm really not. I'd rather watch it at home on my TV, but man, he had the time of his life, and that's what was important. So.
Well, Clint, man, another one down. Number 56 down. We are, folks, look, if you want to listen to us, if you want to listen to this podcast, you can listen to it anywhere you want. We're everywhere now, man. We've added iHeartRadio, we've added TuneIn Radio, we've added Stitcher, we've added Amazon and Google. And we've already been on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube, and we're getting lots more downloads. I guess getting out on all these other places. And some of y'all may be downloading some older episodes and listening to them as you go. We thank you for that. Thank you for listening to us. We can't say that enough. We are grateful for every person that spends time listening and watching or whatever you're doing. I know we're not that fun to look at, so go and listen to us. But thank you so much. like and share on the social media
Like, share,
platforms.
subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple, and it'll download it on your phone already, so you can listen to it as you drive or whatever. All of them will do that, I guess. But seriously, thank y'all so much. We're gonna have, hopefully next week. We couldn't make it work this week with all of our schedules, but next week we're gonna try to get Bo on here.
Baseball
Those
Bo
of y'all
back.
that's been listening for a while, he's our baseball guy. We talked a little bit about baseball today, but we don't have the depth of it that Bo does. He's a little more into it, but his son's busy playing. So they're at McGee tonight. They're number 2 in the state right now, Clint.
Church about to close without me.
And
I love you.
so anyway, thank y'all so much. Clint's gone. Elvis has left the building. And you know what? It's time for me to go too. See y'all. Peace out. Have a blessed week.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come.